Greetings friends, Sleepy here and welcome to a new video series. I actually wanted to do this series for quite some time now. I just haven't had the time to get it going, and I finally wanted to get this going, and it is a question series where I wanted to ask various questions to the community, and then you get your guys' feedback and your guys' responses to these questions. I actually had a buddy a long time ago that created a video series like this, and he would have you create video responses or respond as a comment answering the question that he asked, and then he would tell you his answer to that question. And I had a lot of fun. There was a lot of interaction with the community, and that was, of course, back in the day, though, when you could leave video responses as comments. But I would love to hear guys' thoughts and opinions on the question I asked you guys today, and I would love for you guys to actually film your own video response to. And if you do, please leave the link as a comment in the comment section for me so I can check out your video, because I do love interacting and checking out your guys' videos. So I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this question that I'm going to ask you this week. And you can just leave a comment if you would like to. But if you actually do leave a comment or do film a video, I'm going to have a contest at the end of this video series, and I would give away a prize or something. And everybody who uh, leaves a video response or leaves a comment will get entries into that contest. So every time every video you respond to, whether it's a comment or you make that video, you'll get entries into the contest. And I'll find something, really cool game or a gift card or something to give as the end for participating in this question series. But it's definitely one that I've wanted to do for a long time, and I'm looking forward to starting here. So the first question I'm going to ask, is, are you guys very excited for the 9th gen gaming, the PlayStation 5, Xbox One? Or are you going to stick more towards past 8 generations of gaming, and what your guys' thoughts and opinions are on this new generation of gaming that we're about to get? Now, for me personally, I am not that excited or impressed with the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X. It's just, for me, like since the Xbox 360, like my interest in modern gaming has been declining like every year, as there's been less and less titles released that I've really been interested, only because the industry is shifting away from the focus of single player games into multiplayer games. And I don't blame the developers for going in that direction, because that's what's making money, and that's what's popular with the younger generations. They like the whole interaction, being online and battling each other. Because when I first started gaming, there was no internet, there was no battling buddies other than locally split screen on a TV. And the whole concept and idea of playing online against other people, when I was really young, would have just blown my mind. Like, wow, cool, you could play people on the other side of the country. Hell, you could play people in the other part of the world. It's just amazing. And when they added that in with the original Xbox and PlayStation 2 days, it was really interesting. And I actually enjoyed it, and I played it a lot online back then. But as I've gotten older, I've moved away from the online aspect of multiplayer games. Like, I don't mind playing co-op and stuff, but the last couple of years, I just really have not been into the whole competitive multiplayer aspect of modern gaming. It's just not for me. I prefer my single player story missions that I can play on my own leisure, whenever I want, and not tied to a server or anything. And that's another thing with the modern gaming, is we're becoming so tied to online, having to be online to download those day one patches and updates for games, because they'll create the game, it'll be released, and then it's end up being broken, and you have to update it to fix it and correct issues in it. And so because of that, you have to always have an internet connection. And so if your internet ever goes out, you can be screwed and unable to play certain games, especially if it's a multiplayer game. If your internet's not working, you're not playing that game. You just spent $60 for it, and you can't even enjoy it because your internet is out. And that's another issue that I see, is that at least here in America, our internet and infrastructure is not the best that it could be. Like over in Europe and other places, they have much better internet speeds and fiber optics and stuff. Where America, we're still so far behind. So many parts of the country that have very poor internet. I know my buddy Dean, when he lived in California, his internet would go out all the time, and you could be a couple hours, and you don't have access to the internet. So if you're relying on that internet connection to play your game, you can't even freaking play it because the internet's down, which is annoying and it sucks. But it's unfortunately, this an aspect of modern gaming, is having a constant connection. And if you guys remember back in 2013, when Microsoft announced, the whole DRM thing, meaning you had to always be connected at least once every 24 hours in order to play your console, everybody flipped shit. But that was 7 years ago, and opinions and stuff have changed. People are more willing to adopt the always online mentality than they were 7 years ago, and I've just seen that whole shift from people. Same thing with the whole digital versus physical. You guys know me. I love my physical games. I have a massive physical collection. I can play this game anytime I want. I'm not, tied to a server or anything and having somebody dictate when I can enjoy a game, anything like that. And, I know a lot of people who love having digital games because they don't have to have a physical collection. You can have all your games stored on the hard drive. The only problem I have with it is what happens when that game accidentally gets deleted, your hard drive gets corrupted, and Sony decides to shut down the server for your ability to re-download the game, because they're all stored on a server. A licensing issue could happen, and this company that made this, let's just say Champions North here, and let's say some reason Sony was to lose the license to it and they had to pull it from the market. Well, now you can't ever re-download it again, and you're screwed. You spent that money on that digital copy and you can never re-download it again because they lost the license to it. So for me, I prefer to have physical stuff, and I just keep seeing the new gaming as we're leaning more and more towards digital copies and always being online. And even with the new games you buy for the Xbox One, you install them, they still have to have patches and stuff online. So who knows what you'll be able to, in 20 years, when they eventually shut the servers down, will you actually be able to even play a majority of the Xbox One or PS4 titles without being connected to the internet? Because I've noticed, and some other people have mentioned in videos, that they're not even putting the full game on the discs anymore. Like some person, I can't remember what game it was he was talking about, but there was literally only, it said there was a 50 gig total for the game, but only like 2 gig was on the disc. The other 48 gigs he had to download from the internet, which means the entire game was not on the disc. Which means he tried to play offline and it said, sorry, this game must be updated in order to be played. So he couldn't even play his physical copy without being on the online to at least download the initial update. And it's just something that soured my taste in gaming and just how our direction is going to them dictating when you can play and enjoy your games. I like to be able to play them whenever the hell I want to. I can, this game came out here in 2003. It's 2020 now, and I can still play this game whenever I want. If this was a game that was released today, who knows if I could play this in 17 years from now, because of the online servers aren't going to be up forever. It's just something I've not been too keen on. Now, recently, the Microsoft did release the prices. They're going to have a $500 Xbox Series X, and then there's going to be a $400 like Series S, and it's a digital only, has no optical media, means it has no disc support at all. It's all 100% digital, which is great for some people that are into that. Me, of course, if I was to get one, I would get the one that has disc ability, because that way at least you can have digital or you can have your disc-based gaming. But one of the big things that's turning me off from Microsoft, however, is they said they're not going to have any real console exclusives for 3 years, at least from Microsoft. Third party might, but there's really no need to get the Series X unless you just want a much more powerful console, because they're all supposed to work on Xbox One, which means that's kind of going to hamper and kind of hurt the future games for the Xbox, at least initially, because they have to work on the old Xbox One console, which means they're not going to be as powerful as they could be if they were made exclusively for the Series X. So it's kind of making it, what's the point in getting a Series X right now if all the games work on your Xbox One console? And I just got an Xbox One X for my brother for $100 this year, and the games look amazing. So if I can still play the games on there, why do I need to upgrade and spend another $500 on a console that's not going to really have any exclusive games for 3 years? So I think that's really it's a bad and good decision on Microsoft. They don't want to alienate everybody who just got into the Xbox One, because they have been playing catch up for years against Sony's PlayStation 4, which absolutely destroyed them. Same with Nintendo Switch, has destroyed Xbox. Regardless of what people want to say, Microsoft has been behind. They were doing so well with 360. Then they did that DRM shit, and that really turned a lot of people off from wanting to play the Xbox One. I almost canceled my pre-order, but I said, well, maybe they'll change their mind and I'll give it a chance, and they end up did, and then I got the Xbox One, and I'm glad I did. But had they not changed it, I would have canceled my pre-order and I would have been done, and I would have just completely shifted over to Sony and did PlayStation 4 gaming only, which is sad because I love Xbox, and the original Xbox is my favorite console of all time. But as far as the ninth gen gaming, I'm just not as excited as I used to be. And I was always excited as the new consoles came out, when the Nintendo 64 came out. Oh, this is awesome, so cool, updated graphics. PlayStation 1 came out. Then I remember when PlayStation 2 came out, just blew my mind, the original Xbox. And then when they launched Xbox Live on that was awesome. I got Xbox 360 on day one. I pre-ordered that, picked that up, it was amazing. I got the Xbox One day one. But as far as ninth gen gaming, I just don't think I'm going to be picking it up on day one. Now, I haven't seen Sony's price point. They'll be having a video released soon, at least at the filming of this video. I don't know when you guys will see it. I mean, they may have already released their video releasing the price, but I'm assuming it's going to be comparable to the Microsoft's $500 price. I mean, they're not going to want to do $700 and $800 because their PlayStation 3 was priced $100 more than the Xbox 360. Maybe it was $200 more, and that really hurt their market and their ability to sell consoles because they were priced more. You don't want to be the guy that charges more money for your console versus your competitor because you're automatically, you're behind in that race. So I'm sure theirs will be comparable, and I don't know how their backwards compatibility is going to be, but it's supposed to be compatible with the PS4 games, and then I heard it's not going to play any PlayStation 1, 2, or 3. Now the new Xbox Series X is supposedly going to play all Xbox One, supposed to play Xbox 360 and original Xbox games. And I don't know if it's going to only be, the games they currently have that are compatible on Xbox One, the 360 original Xbox games that work on Xbox One, or if it's going to be the entire library, which that would be awesome if you could play all of your old original Xbox and 360 games and Xbox One titles on the new Xbox Series X. That'd be a massive library of thousands of games for people to choose from. And, that'd be really cool to play your games upscale, because I have played some original Xbox games, especially the original Xbox games on the Xbox One X. And, man, the graphics are upscaled and they run so much better. Same with 360 games. Like, there were some games like Silent Hill Downpour example. It was really glitchy for some reason on the 360. I don't know if it was from a recent patch they did to or not, but I noticed there's some parts that kept glitching and freezing, and I had to restart it, and it was one particular part in the cave that kept irritating me, and then I saw it was backwards compatible. I'm like, well, shit, I'll just play it on the Xbox One here real quick, and boom, solved all those issues because it was such a much more powerful console. The graphics got a little upscale to them, and it looked really nice. So I do like that whole backwards compatibility that Microsoft is at least pushing for the new Series X. And of course, some people aren't into because they don't care about playing the old stuff. They only want to play the new stuff. But so there's that aspect I do like. But the biggest thing is, Microsoft's really pushing games as a service, which they have that Xbox Game Pass where you get access to 100 titles that you can play anytime you want. You just install them and you can play them. Which, for a lot of people, that's a great value for you. You have to pay like $15 a month, I think it is. So, you end up spending a couple $100 a year to access to these titles, which if you play for like 10 years, you're talking a couple thousand, talking thousands of dollars you'll spend on titles you don't own. And for most people, they like it. I don't like it because the games don't stay up on that Game Pass forever, and when they do take them away, you lose access to that game unless you want to actually go buy the digital copy of it. And I don't like being tied to a server and a person telling me when I can enjoy a game. This Onimusha Warlords game, I can play anytime I want, pop the disc in, and I can enjoy it and play it, and I'm not tied to a server, because it's basically like glorified rentals, and I'm not into renting my games. I like owning my physical copies and being able to play whenever I want to. And, people are like, oh, you can play this game on the Game Pass, you can play that game on the Game Pass. Yeah, I can play that now in 2020, but what about in 2030 when I want to play that game again? I want to revisit, because I play games at my own leisure, and I go back and play old retro stuff whenever I want. I'm playing old 20 and 30-year-old games right now, and all I have to do is pop in the disc or the cartridge, and I can enjoy that game and go back and play it for myself. So for me, I'm an old school gamer. I like my strategy, guys. I like my physical collection. Some of you younger collectors, I know you guys are more into the whole digital age, always access, just play the game now. I only care what's going on now, and in the future, I'm going to play the new stuff. Who cares about playing the older games? And, that's fine if that's how you like to be. But for me, it's just not me. I've always liked my physical collections, and I like my older collections. And I've been gravitating more and more towards my retro collection. That's why I've built it up, and I've got just thousands of games. I mean, I have enough uh, old games in my collection to keep me satisfied and busy for the rest of my life. There's no way I could play every game I have in my collection. That's how many games I have. So I'm set if we go to that 100% digital future, which I think is what we're going to eventually get to. We will not have physical games eventually as we lean more and more towards digital. That's how the industry is moving, because they actually make money on digital copies, because they don't make money when you sell a used copy, only when you buy new. And so if they only have digital copies, that's all you'll be able to buy, and they will continue to keep their money. And of course, they've added their microtransactions where they add little DLC to the game, which I'm fine with. Regular full-blown DLC, add missions and stuff to the game, but I don't like when they add just stupid little cosmetic stuff to the game, or they keep part of the game locked behind a paywall, meaning, oh, well, you want this extra stuff that it's already in the game? Oh, well, you have to pay extra money to access that. I don't like that. I like having the full game and then adding additional content that wasn't originally in the game. I'm completely fine with, expansion packs and stuff, because they've had those for years, and I like that kind of stuff. But when you have it broken down to like, oh, you want, this character in a red suit, well, you got to pay $1.99. And one of the biggest offenders is like those Dynasty Warrior games. Like, I looked at one of them. I think there was like, you have to spend like $400 to buy all the DLC, and $2 for, get this character's costume pack, or get this music pack. All this stuff was all freaking like $2, $3, and you have to spend just hundreds and hundreds of dollars to buy all the content for the game, which I don't like. And I would not uh, recommend doing that. I mean, some people might enjoy, but I don't like spending, hundreds of dollars on one game to buy all this extra little content for. So that's another thing I just don't like, is the whole microtransactions. And then I've seen that even in the multiplayer games, where everything is behind a paywall. Like, oh, you want a certain costume pack? Oh, well, you got to earn this certain currency in game in order to then go to a gambling system where you get this random crate, and you don't even get the character you want. It's just a random picture, or you get a random character that they generated, and you have to play basically like a lottery system. Like, I saw that in like the Gears of War games. It's like, well, I want this specific Dominic Santiago character. Oh, well, you can't just buy it. You have to gamble for it and spend actual money. Oh, well, you don't want to grind. Here, just spend $100 and buy this in-game currency, and then you can buy the stuff you want for it and have it compete in multiplayer. Or here, you can level up your character and make it more, make yourself more competitive by spending actual money, which is what they encourage people to do. So that's another aspect of gaming I've never liked, is pushing the whole microtransaction. I just see that getting even more prevalent as we get into 9th gen gaming. Another thing that's been kind of frustrating is I've noticed, we're getting less and less physical copies of games, especially if it's not a AAA game. Copies are becoming scarce for certain games. Like, I got a couple examples here. Example is this Rico game for PS4. Got a very small print run. Now, of course, you can easily get this digitally, but physically, it was tough for me to get copies of this game. I actually had to go on eBay, and I only found a couple copies, and I was able to get one. But this is another example of, we're getting less and less physical copies. So if you don't get this day one when it comes out, who knows in the future if you're going to get it, because it had such a limited run. Another one I got here is Those Who Remain Deluxe Edition for PS4 was only $20, but my GameStop only got the one copy that I pre-ordered, and they're not getting any more in, and there's none in this entire state, because I looked up, like, you can check in with them 20 miles, 1,500 miles of your house. Not a single store even has a physical copy of this game, because it has such a small print run. So down in the future, it's going to have a hard time finding these physical copies of games, because they're printing so fewer copies, especially when they're made by third-party developers and smaller studios and stuff. When they just have basically digital copies, and if you want to get physical one, it's really tough. So that's really putting me off, because I don't want to go 100% digital. I mean, when we eventually get to there, I'm just gonna stop. I'll be done with that. generation of gaming, it's going to kind of suck. I want to play the new games that are coming out because there are some really exciting ones coming out. But at that point, I'm just going to have to say no because I'm not going to buy into always online, 100% digital only. That's just not how I am. Now, I do have some digital games I have downloaded that were only digital copies, and I've backed them up. But it's not the way I prefer to game. I prefer to game with physical copies, and the new modern gaming is just kind of not what I've been into. So I'm not that excited for 9th gen gaming. I don't know when I'm actually going to get them, if I'm even going to get them at this point. I'll have to see here as we get a couple of years into the life cycle of the 9th gen consoles, and then see if it's something I want to invest my money into or not, or if it's just something I'm going to stop with 8th gen. We'll see. I just don't know. But for me, I'm just not as excited as I was in the past. And it's just because you get older, your tastes change. I know what I like. And I know that, the 9th gen and stuff is gearing more towards the younger gamers. They're more into the always online gaming compared to what I'm into. So, I can't fault the industry for adapting and changing because this is what people want. When you look at like Fortnite's and your Call of Duty Online and how many millions of people play that and how much money, billions of dollars are spent on microtransactions and those mobile download games, people are into that kind of stuff. And because of it, that's where the industry is going to gravitate towards, and they're going where the money is. And it's being dictated by us, the consumer, because this is what we're adapting to and what we want. So they're only putting it to there. So, if people want to, complain, you really only have to complain about ourselves because we're the ones that are accepting it and are embracing it. And the younger generations are more into being online. They've grown up always having access to the internet, so that's what they expect and they want in their games, and they love having that aspect of the competitive part of it. So us older gamers who've been gaming for years will kind of get left behind, and we'll have our older games to keep us busy, and the younger generations will have the new consoles that keep themselves busy. So I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. How excited are you guys for the 9th gen gaming? Are you guys not excited for it? Are you guys going to get it on day one? What are some aspects of the 9th gen that you're looking forward to? Is like backwards compatibility like a big selling point for you, or do you not really care about this older stuff? Are you one of those people that once the new stuff comes out, you're done with the old stuff and you put it away and don't do that? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and your opinions answering this question about you guys excited for 9th gen gaming, and what are your thoughts on it? And is it something you guys are really looking forward to? I'd love to hear from you. So like I said, if you guys would love to do a video response answering this question, please do it, because I would love to watch your video. Just make sure you guys leave a link to your video as a comment so I can find it, because YouTube doesn't always update us on when people post videos, and I've missed out some videos. Like I found out like somebody posted one video like a year ago. I never even knew about it because YouTube never let me know about it, and I happened to just randomly find it as I was scrolling through videos. So if you do leave a video response, please leave the link as a comment. You guys can also answer the question, if you would rather, as just a comment, and leave a comment and let me know your guys' thoughts and answers to that question. And everybody who does that will be entered into a contest that I'll have at the end of this question series. I don't know how many questions I'm going to answer and then do the contest, but maybe like 10 or 15 or so, and then I'll have a question, then I'll have that contest for everybody who participated in this question series, and then we'll start the next round of questions again, and I'll have another prize like that. So it's one series I would like to keep going for a while. I had a lot of fun answering these questions that my buddy did years ago, and it's a fun series here that I'm enjoying starting, and I hope you guys are enjoying it and you guys do participate, because I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on these questions that I'm going to ask you over the next several months and couple of years here. I want to thank you guys for watching. Take care, have an amazing day, and sleepy. We'll see you guys next time.